It is a good morning to be on CEMTV's Morning Pulse. This is the online trends. And of course, I am Emmanuel Tamanot Henry. It is a wonderful morning, not much rain going about. You know, it was drizzling in some parts of it as I was on my way to work, but overall, it was a beautiful experience. No hindrance, no stopping, no flooding, not many issues concerning the rain. Cool winds, dark clouds, just exactly the type of weather you'd want to enjoy. Well, apart from my people that are like the sunflower, they always point to where the sun shines. But if you are like me, you prefer the dark, cold, and enclosed areas of the world, then this weather is one for you. I don't know if Vera is, a dark cloud or a ray of sunshine. Which would you say you are? You prefer hot sun?
Kinda, yes. I prefer not like hot sun, but I prefer when the weather is clear
and bright.
And bright, yes, please. I want that. However, I always say that I appreciate the rains because obviously we need it for crops to grow, for all of that. So I appreciate the rain.
Yeah.
But if we had a way for just clear weather, clear sky, and then the rain will just fall where it needs to fall. I would love that, but unfortunately that's not how the world was created.
Yeah.
But yeah, here we are. Good morning Tammy, how you doing?
I'm doing quite well. How about you?
I'm doing fine. Today is midweek. That's exciting for me, because today reminds me that we're very close to the weekend though. Exactly. We're trying, we've made efforts, and yes, it's like also the thought process of having to kick stuff off your bucket list for the week.
Yeah,
it's exciting for me as well. So the fact that we're in Wednesday and I already have kicked a lot of things off my bucket list for the week. So pep, we go. That makes me happy.
Well, I would say I had a pretty good morning until a certain point. Of course, on my way to work, we were stopped by a group of police officers. They're always at that particular checkpoint. And they stopped our driver, told him to park to the side. Of course, in typical Nigerian fashion, the first thing I was expecting was they want to ask him for money. But then I wanted to look at the bright side. I wanted to look, give them the benefit of doubt to say, okay, maybe, just maybe, they just want to, check if his papers are complete. If he has a busted tail light, you'll tell him, okay, you have a busted tail light, or your headlight is gone, or you need to fix this, fix that, which of course is within the purview, of course, also within the purview of the traffic wardens as well.
Yeah.
The road safety officers, of course, since the road safety officers were not present there, it is also within the jurisdiction of the police to inform you of that or punish you for that. I was like, okay, let me give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, maybe that's what they want to do, but no. The reason they stopped him was because he had given them money, but they did not have, the appropriate change to give him. Exactly. So they stopped him to the side of the road, brought him down, wasted our time so they could go and try looking for change. So when they got back, it was almost like a coincidence. We were having a conversation, which I'll play later on, in this conversation. But it was almost like a coincidence because there's a video trending online of a police officer harassing a young man. They stopped him for search. They searched his car. They were with his papers. And the other police officer, I have no idea why he brought out his phone and was recording, but he brought out his phone and was recording. And what the individual said was, "You are very rude." And then the police officer started calling him names, started insulting him, using harsh words. And this other individual on the receiving end, who was being searched and held, he did not, use any mean word. He did not insult the officer. All he said was, "You are rude." And the police officer kept insulting him, behaved unprofessionally. You see, there's no way I can explain this that you can, really grasp the intensity of what was going on. So here's a video of that act taking place.
God is stop person. And I said that if you burn my time. Oh God, you are very rude. You are very rude. Anything you like, no talk. You are very rude. You are very rude. You don't get what you used to pass me. Now uniform you wear, God. You don't get what you. Now your time they spoil the country. They whine me. You are very rude. You see young guy. You want for the talk. You don't talk to me. You burn my time. You whine me. Papa, you not gonna talk to me anyhow, guy. You don't gonna talk for me. Look, I don't swear for you. See me. The why yourself. If you burn my time, talk for them now. Saturday you want someone get up from here, no sense. I smoke, but I'm not the one insulting. I smoke, but not the insult you now. You are rude, it's not an insult. You are very, very rude. I don't think that's my car. Why yourself? I'll get you. You don't know, say I hear you now. You don't finish. You don't finish now. Who can lose? Why yourself?
You see, most people tend to not understand the difference between an objective statement and an insult. If someone tells you you are rude, it is not an insult. They're stating a fact. It's not an insult to your personality. It's not an insult to your character. It's basically the act you were carrying out as at that point. And it was quite obvious that the officer was rude. Or Vera, perhaps am I misunderstanding the meaning? If anything, he was not, the officer was not rude. He was vulgar. He was unprofessional. It was unbefitting of the uniform that he has on his body. So I don't think rude cuts it, to be honest with you. I think that is punishable because you're acting beyond, you know, you're going beyond the limits of your your professionalism. It makes absolutely no sense.
It's sad that up until this minute we are still having to talk about, you know, police brutality, even up to the point of, you know, police as police attitude or their, you know, professionalism or professionalism during their job process or when they are carrying out their duties as police officers, especially on the road. It's very sad because this conversation has existed for way too long. And saying that we have to always call police officers to order, especially those on the road, is really sad. I don't think that there is any average Nigerian, especially one who drives, that haven't had to encounter the police officers on the road and, you know, the unprofessionalism that comes with it. And I'm saying this factually because a lot of people now put your experience online. I'm going to see thousands of people who have complained about the police. Now, it is important to note, what are the police supposed to do when they stop you? What are your duties? I heard Tammy say before about, you know, police actually doing, telling you about your if your
if you're missing your tail light, or if your tire is flat, or if you're breaking any traffic laws.
We have the traffic wardens for that. We have those traffic officers for that who do that. Now, the job of the police when they stop you is basically to search you, you know, and see if like there's any, it's to stop criminalities. As a matter of fact, kidnapping happens on the road, you know, or armed robbery happens on the road. So the essence of stopping you is to be sure that you're not any of those. So it doesn't also come down to harassing you or searching for. And also citizens, I think that we've come to a point where citizens and policemen do not, that police is your friend, does not really apply, maybe because of the past, because of experiences and all of that. But it's important to know that when you're stopped by the police, you also need to be polite to them. You are
we're talking about being stopped. A stop and search. Number one, you have a right to privacy in the Constitution.
And so you do have a right to record.
If they do not have a warrant to search you, they have no right to search you. In the act, or rather, in the situation where they need to search you, there needs to be probable cause. Even under the Section 29 of the Police Act. It states that the officer may detain or search a person or vehicle if they reasonably suspect that this individual may be in possession of stolen items, contraband, or something unlawfully obtained. Looking at that individual, the way he addressed them, what then would be their probable cause? Because you cannot stop anybody without giving them, okay, we have reasons to believe that this car was stolen or you're in possession of drugs, so on and so forth.
Just like you said, right? This particular officer was rude, used vulgar languages, which is not supposed to. Even if you have reason to search a person, you know, you do not use words like that. Because, of course, even the court to tell you that nobody's guilty until proven guilty. You know, so you do not even have to use those words. You do not. The right attitude of policemen is basically to guide you through the steps of whatever it is that they want to do with you. I've encountered the police before, and I have seen the ones who are like very meticulous at their job, and they'll be like, okay, this is what you're meant to do now. They guide you through the process. You're not supposed to be scared of the police, especially if you're guilty of any if you're not guilty of anything. You're not supposed to. They're supposed to give you guidance. This is what you're meant to do. This is what we're going to do now. This is what we're going to do. We do not want you to be upset. We do not. That is the natural flow of things between the police and a citizen. But unfortunately, the uniform gives some policemen the how do you call it, the power to speak unruly to people.
No, it doesn't give them the power.
No,
it gives them
it does. They actually have it. They think that because
they think because nowhere in the Constitution does it state that any police officer has the right to speak.
No police officer has the right to speak unruly to citizens. However, putting on that uniform has made some police officers feel like they have a right over the citizen, and that's why they will always. That's why you see them like they'll stand there with their uniforms and they'll be very rude to you. I mean, well, that's not what's supposed to happen.
You see, I love the fact that you pointed out the uniform because there's another video.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about
outside the uniform,
men,
even the guns.
That's the thing. If we're talking about uniformed men, what then would we say in this next video where an individual, as far as anyone is concerned, is not wearing any uniform, is not armed, has no ID card or anything to prove that he is an officer of the law, but then he comes to try to accost the young man under the guise that this young man is a Yahoo boy, he's a scammer, he's an online scammer. So here's that video for you to watch.
No worry. No worry. They don't come. And the video there, no worry. No worry. Back about it. No worry. They don't come. Just calm down. They don't come. I've called them already. More of them don't come, I beg. We don't shoot them when they break here now. No worry. Now they want to video, but Mona won't worry. Mona don't worry. Now don't do what they hope for. They go hope boys. They say the boys are Yahoo. What do you do? What do you do? Lift the boy. What do you do? What do you do? Guys, what do you do? You're very stupid. Where are you? No, no worry. Stay here. Come back.
Now, first of all, like we mentioned earlier, the police only can arrest you when they have reasonable suspicion. Even under Section 35 of the 1999 Constitution and Section 38 of the Nigeria Police Act, the police are only empowered to arrest someone if there is reasonable suspicion that they have committed or are committing or are about to commit any crime. Watching that video, there is no proof as to show, okay, this is why I believe that this individual is a scammer. This is why I believe this individual is about, this is, we gathered intelligence that this individual in particular is about to join a scamming syndicate, or this individual has a past of, you know, cyber fraud. And so we finally caught him and we want to arrest him. And secondly, operating without your uniform, with no proof. Fine, you can operate without your uniform. You could have been an undercover individual following him around, you may have been a detective, trying to find out if this individual is indeed who we are looking for. And if indeed that is the, look at him running away because the individuals have said they're calling his bluff.
Yes.
Saying, okay, if you are a police officer, come and arrest him, and now he ran away.
Okay.
If you are actually an officer of the law, what is wrong with bringing out your ID card?
Yes.
And saying, look, I am a police officer.
Yeah.
I am an undercover police officer. We have been tracking this boy for days. We've been tracking this boy for weeks. And we have reasons to believe that he is an online scammer. There's a way you will articulate yourself, not holding him like you already know he is guilty of a crime.
To start with, is that a police officer? Because there's no uniform.
It's alleged because he claimed to be a police officer and there is no proof.
I'm glad that there is a video that catches him, you know, that shows his face or whatever, to show that, okay, this man, if you think you want to arrest this man, or if you think you want to arrest this boy, you know, you're going to be seen on camera.
Exactly.
I, for one, I don't think, I'm not bought by this whole idea that this person is a police officer, or whoever it is. Because firstly, police officers will always come in twos, or at least threes, you know, and what happened to their van? What happened to their vehicle? Why is he coming like...
Even if it's the worst case scenario that he's the only one, what happened to your ID card?
No ID and anything of such. So I would really rule this out, because this doesn't seem to me like a case of a a police officer or police officers actually, you know, wanting to executing an arrest. Yes, this seems like a case of oppression. Maybe this guy knows this guy from somewhere, or maybe someone sent him as, you know, as a cover up, you know, as an imposter, you know, and saying, oh, be a policeman.
Once they hear your police, they'll leave you alone.
Once they hear that you're police, he will follow you and stuff like that. That could be the case here. But talking about those ones who are even in uniforms, who do situations, you see how the difference is really clear. Like you've seen the one who is not on uniform, who have come to make an arrest or of another person, has been called out of his bluff and has gone. So if you are a police officer, you're holding a badge, you're holding a gun, and you're representing the police force, the Nigerian police force, it is important that you do not act like a tout, so that you can actually be identified. You can't be carrying a badge that says you're a police officer and you be acting like a like a tout or any of those people who are imposters. There are rules and laws to guide the police. Even as Nigerians and as citizens, I think that it is important that we also get education about our rights and our laws, because a lot of people do not also know that. And
people don't know their rights.
Maybe on another episode, or maybe on another episode, we would be very keen on, you know, stating our rights, especially when it comes to vehicle properties and, you know, encountering police outside. We'll bring that to you so that we will give you more information or more education on what your rights are, because one of the things that Nigerians have a problem with is the knowledge of what their right is, you know, and ignorance, they say, is not an excuse in the court of law. So you need to be handy. You need to know those things. You need to know what your rights are. You need to exercise your rights. And funnily enough, when you meet these police officers and you're able to exercise the right that you know, they will treat you better because you know your rights. Maybe not. Maybe we're hopeful that they do treat you better when you know your right. However, you have an edge over them when you do have or do know your rights. So we'll definitely bring that. Because of time, we can't go through that today. But definitely one of those episodes will bring that to your, screen, and of course educate you on what your rights are.
Exactly. You need to know what your rights are, where your rights begin and where your rights end. Now, earlier I talked about how we had a confrontation with the police, or let me not say confrontation, but the police had stopped our vehicle because they wanted to, get money, illegal funds, because that's not legal funds. It's not within their purview to collect, funds from drivers along the way. They stopped our driver to extort him of his hard-earned cash. And afterwards, we had a conversation in the bus. And here's one of those conversations that we had. I know they talk about. Exactly. No be saying now for my, no be say for my, and even that one where they do say no be one way if they see me now, you go come be something way. Minister said the problem. Governor the question. Governor manage with all the salary. It's not again after. Exactly. That is not the right thing. Thank you, my brother. The one governor is taking, is it the right thing? It is not. Now, it may matter. I know they talk to anyone that they do not the right thing. Then they do one, but you know me saying not the right thing. Exactly. Like, if you not bad, so now we don't see I'm saying not the right thing. Not be the right thing. I'm not be to the start, they don't take. Now, what are they talk? Because they don't take, because they don't do one, because they still do one. No me saying not the right thing. Now, what are they talk? Wait to Nigeria, well, you get right. Then you get right. All this one are because people know they push for the right thing. Individually, we need to change our mindset. Now the matter, no be the same country, no be country where other countries dey. Okay, Nigeria now who go help us? No be who go help us. Nigeria na democracy. Na people get their power. No be say who go help us. Okay, what do we do for Nigeria? You see, it's quite unfortunate that we've gotten to the point where we need to tell ourselves that we can't help ourselves anymore. We need external influence in order for Nigeria to be better, and for individuals to have seen the evils being carried out, have been so desensitized to the point that to them it is now normal that when you question why this thing goes on, they're like, after all, it has been going on for a very long time, so it is normal, it is accepted, it is what it should be. What else? And you could hear someone saying, what is the right and wrong? Does Nigeria have right and wrong? That's the worst mindset to have. Nigeria is one of the most powerful countries in the world, one of the richest countries in the world, and we have the name the Giant of Africa for a reason. So for you to expect that Nigeria should be looked at less, that Nigeria should be seen as this jungle where everything and anything goes, is unacceptable. We are a federal republic, one of the most powerful nations in the world. So why have we gotten to a point where we see evil and then we turn a blind eye because it has been happening since the times of Abraham and until now, hence it shall continue to be forevermore? Why? When was this mindset pushed onto us? Now, Vera, we're in a state where the minds of the people have been corroded to the point where the evil is now seen as good. The evil is now seen as
the reason it's line.
Exactly. And another thing is, it's because you are not there. It's because you're not in that position. If you are put in that position, would you not do the same thing? Leave them, then they do them for a reason, and so on and so forth. What do you think is the solution we can have, considering that these things are happening and some citizens have already gotten to the point where they see this as normal, they see this as good, and they see anything beyond this as practically impossible?
Yeah, first of all, there are lots of things that we can do, right? You know, we can impute technology to start with. Let's say police officers having cams on their uniforms. Those are things that we've seen work in other countries, and most definitely can work here. So I don't know at what point you would think about that as a country, as a nation, that let's start to introduce body cams to police officers. You know, that's one too. We've already talked about it. Every Nigerian being able to know what their rights actually is. The thing is, when you know your right, even the police officers themselves will respect your right. So it is important that we know our rights, and that also comes with education. It comes with visibility, and which of course we'll try on our end to make sure that we tell you, or we tell you what your rights are. We show you what your rights are. That's another way. There's so many things that might not even come up at the top of my head, but most importantly, if we care, right, it's about caring. It's about wanting best for the country. It's about seeing that so many people have died from police brutality. So many people have been locked up. Of recent, there was a story that I saw of a boy who was arrested at 14 and was taken to police custody and was in police custody for over 15 years.
15 years.
Was in prison rather for about almost 15 years, and finally came out of prison and was, a shadow of himself. His family members had to start looking for a solution because he was more like a vegetable. And it's really sad because these are experiences that are very common close to home. There is almost like out of like 10 Nigerians or 10 families, you can see about at least 2 or 1 that have experienced stuff like this. So it's so close, like we're experiencing too much for it to just be another thing to overlook. These are experiences that we do not have to have. We do not have to experience. These are things we don't have to, especially not at the high rate that we're currently experiencing it. So if we care as a nation, if our leaders care, there are so many solutions that can be brought up. It starts by caring and then sitting down to strategize. What do we do differently? Every year we are recruiting thousands of police officers. What kind of training do they receive? What do they know? What do they know before we give them guns? Where do they head? Like, what exactly is the plan when we recruit these thousands of police officers? So it starts with us caring as a nation, our leaders caring for us, and even us caring for ourselves as individuals. And just maybe we would just be able to eradicate this one step after the other.
Well, that's the most we can bring to you on the online trends. If you ask me, I think that the change starts with us as a people. Any move that needs to be made, even if our leaders don't care, we can make them care. Not with violence, not with destruction, but with our rights, and of course with those we vote into office. I am Emmanuel Tamino Tenari, and that's the most we can take on the online trends. Coming up next will be new surgery, but before that I'll leave you with our last conversation that we had on that bus. Do well to stay tuned to CEMTV.
If they say they won't check all your paper today.
Me. No. Even if you want to go that side, all my paper complete. All my paper complete. All of them complete. If you ask for my ID card, voters card, NIN, driving license, insurance, everything complete.
They go take your time. What kind of job they have? How much are they paying them?
My own is that now be the government we they talk, my brother.
They little talk they give them.
Okay, now, like the hospital.